Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real. So with the big matchup between the El Dorado Eagles and the La Cueva Bears, time to make my pick here on the ProView Rundown. I'm going to go with the El Dorado Eagles. You know, I'm going to change my decision, and I'm going to go with the La Cueva Bears. They're feeling it. All right, hey, calm down. Guys, you do it every time. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to be in makeup.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Menace TV here on Proview Networks. Leroy Lucero, along with the prodigal host, Michael Carla.
I'm not sure what that means.
We haven't been around for a long time. I don't know where you went. I was worried. I was scared. You know, I know you were busy, but I mean, you went out to Las Vegas. Yeah. You caught the fight. Then you didn't make it the week before. I missed you, Mike. How's that? I missed having your face and your intellect and the wisdom that you bring to this show.
You know, Leroy, I'd like to say that I missed you too. I'd like to say that. Unfortunately, I can't. No, I did miss you, Ed.
It's
glad to be back.
I love having you here because not only are you know what you're talking about, but you also host the show on during the week on 610 The Sports Animal. You get a lot of callers, you get a lot of feedback, and I enjoy listening to your show. Plus, I just like having you around. That's why we invited you from the very beginning. So how was your trip to Las Vegas? I know it's a little bit, the news is old, but how was the trip?
That was a very good trip. Very busy. Wound up with the UFC Media Day. In part for this weekend's fights, of course, Ray Borg, who trains out of Jackson Wink, is fighting Demetrius Johnson for the flyweight title. So got that. Checked out the Big 3 Championship. And then, of course, Mayweather-McGregor, huge fight. That was a lot of fun.
Were there a lot of people for the Big Three Championship? Were there people there?
There were more than I thought would be there. They probably had about 10,000 there for that.
Oh, they almost reached Lobo football. Almost.
Wow.
Almost. I know.
Wow.
So was there a difference between UFC and the boxing situation? I mean, did you sense?
Yes.
Did you sense like a rivalry there or some sort of conflict?
No, nothing like that. Everything was different, especially fight night. Just the atmosphere, the types of fans. If you watched the fight on pay-per-view, you probably noticed up until the main event, the arena was pretty empty.
Yeah.
When the actual pay-per-view started, there were probably about 1,500 people in the arena. And with UFC, sometimes the crowd's a little slow arriving, but by the start of the pay-per-view, the arena's pretty full. So it was just a different type of crowd. I don't want to say laid back because that gives off the sense that they weren't into it. They were, but it was just more of a casual, we'll get in there when we get in there type thing.
Like a Dodger fan sort of thing.
Actually, that's a pretty good analogy. So it was different from that standpoint. But once the main event got going, the crowd was into it. It was an entertaining fight. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I mean, talking to some guys here, I'm thinking of my good friend Andy Rivera. He's a big boxing guy, and some other people. It's like you have the boxing purists, and then you have the MMA. I guess you could do that in baseball, those that like the designated hitter and those that don't. I mean, you didn't have anything like that?
No, I think for a lot of fans there was that. As far as the people out there in attendance, no, not so much.
Speaking of Ray Borg, we do have an interview. Micah Frankel, our friend and owner of CageMinds.com. You have him on the radio show. He obviously is a big part of Red Menace TV. He interviewed Ray Borg a few days ago, and we're going to run that interview during his segment today. He said, run it. That's a great interview. I said, all right, Micah, you're in. You're on. We'll take care of that. So we'll have him on. Obviously, Rusty the Sports Clown's here. And we could probably talk about Lobo football.
We probably should talk about Lobo football.
The season kicked off, and Lobos beat Abilene Christian University. And I got to ask you one thing, Michael, because I know you're up in the booth, up way high, looking over us, mere mortals, as we're sitting there. Do we look like little ants down there?
No. As a matter of fact, I picked you out immediately as soon as you sat down. I'm like, hey, there's Leroy.
Okay, cool.
Down in the Red Menace section.
All right, so I was the bigger ant.
Yes.
More like a grasshopper or a cricket than an ant. Anyway, Lobos, obviously they take the kickoff. They march down the field, get down to the 3-yard line, and it stalls out, obviously. And everyone's like, okay. Then all of a sudden, Abilene Christian, who they just moved up to FCS, right? They play in the Southland Conference. Decent team. I thought they were a decent team. Takes the ball 99 yards and scores a touchdown. And you could almost, and maybe this is just my thoughts because I've been a Lobo fan my whole life and I know that feeling, but it's like someone stuck a needle in a balloon and it's like, psst. It wasn't a pop.
Right.
It was just that. Psst. Did you feel that up where you were at?
Not really, but I do think I felt some cause for concern because one of the big stories we've talked about all camp leading up to that first game, a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, but a lot of unproven talent, especially at the corner positions, not a lot of experience. And to see, wasn't that concerned that the first drive stalled. I would have gone for it on fourth down too.
Sure.
I get all that. But to see the way Abilene Christian went down the field pretty doggone efficiently on that first drive, I'm like, this defense might be a real problem. Now, to the Lobos' credit, they pretty much shut down Abilene Christian offensively after that. Now, they did get a late touchdown.
Right.
But, for a few minutes, I'm like, this might turn into a shootout or something. If Abilene Christian's going to be able to drive like this the whole game, wasn't that concerned about the Lobo offense. I knew they'd get going. I knew they'd put up points. But there was a little bit of, this might get interesting.
Well, it was really crazy because it's the way that they did it. It was just short little dink and dunk passes, dink, 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 just moving up the field. Obviously, the defense, the Lobo defense shut down Abilene Christian's running game to the point they just stopped. It was like, why even bother?
Yep.
Not only that, they were taking what the Lobos were giving them, which was those little 4, 5, 10-yard little dump-off passes that were really going well. That wide receiver screen seemed to befuddle the Lobo defense. defense for quite a while. I know they didn't score much after that initial drive, but they were moving the ball quite a bit.
They were.
Lobos weren't getting a lot of pressure defensively on that quarterback who was pretty good. I thought he was a pretty solid quarterback. I can't remember where he transferred from, but he was a solid young quarterback. The receivers were good. They were blocking. Offensively, the Lobos got better, but I think you're right. I don't know. It was a weird game because those games are always weird because you think we're going to kick the snot out of these guys. It's just going to be a slobber knocker, and they're going to pick up their check, and they're just happy that they got to play. And when the game started and the music that was being piped in through Lobo Vision, their players were loose and dancing and having a good time. It's like their first, I guess, real college experience, at the D1 level with UNM, and then they just came out and just rolled like that. It was like, ooh. But would you agree with me that them marching down the field like that probably prompted the Lobo coaches to put some boots on some butts and
there was probably some intense conversations, some coaches encouraging some guys to step up and maybe play a little harder.
Yeah, because it seemed like after that they really put the clamps on. And really, Abilene Christian's only other scoring opportunity came off the punt fumble, wasn't it? I can't remember if they scored off that or not.
No, because they scored late after the Lobos had already pulled most of their starters. That happened after.
But I thought there was a fumble or something that happened that caused that. I could be wrong.
I don't remember now. Yeah.
So anyway, defensive-wise, I thought they tightened up. Like we said, they shut down their running game to the point they stopped. Like I said, possibly that could be because Abilene Christian said, we're going to take what you give us. You're not going to let us run. We'll just dink and dunk you to death. But I noticed some players were really making some plays, and the coaching staff really made a difference, and that led, of course, to Jake I can't pronounce his name.
Schiller.
Ross Schiller's 95-yard interception return.
Right.
He came in off that blitz, jumped up, and I don't know, how did he get that? I mean, did that ball just stick in his face mask? How did he catch it? Because that thing had some mustard on it coming out.
It did.
And he was not that far away from the quarterback when he snared it. And it was interesting because the receiver for Abilene Christian didn't give up on the play. He caught it at the end.
Yeah.
It was just that last, it was like, come on. He looked pretty fast for the first 20 yards.
Luckily, you don't have to go 5 yards deep into the end zone for it to count. All you have to do is break the plane. But yeah, a huge play. Ross Schiller had a big game.
He did.
He had the interception. He had a tackle for loss. I believe he had a sack as well.
A sack and a fumble, forced a fumble, or did he recover that fumble? I can't remember.
He forced the fumble. 8 total tackles for him. Gergel had a nice game with 7 tackles. Bijan Parker with 6. So you saw a lot of guys stepping up on that side of the ball. It'll be interesting. I don't want to get too far ahead, but this week, because New Mexico State's going to throw the ball.
Yes, they are.
And it'll be interesting to see how that defense responds against the Aggies. But I thought overall a very good effort. The Lobos were able to offensive side of the ball pass. Some and have success. Lamar Jordan completed his first 8 passes, wound up with over 200 yards passing, so they look good that way. They got big plays from the run game from a number of different guys. So overall, I think if you're a Lobo fan, you got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, and then I did want to go into the offense a little bit. Obviously, I don't think they started off slow. They just didn't score that first play,
right.
That first drive. But I don't think they were slow. I thought they were efficient. You mentioned Lamar Jordan with the passing, and not all those passes were just the little dink and dunk variety.
No, not at all.
I mean, they went deep a few times, and
Blaine Hart-Johnson caught a deep ball, one of those, and it's funny because Bob Davey talked about that last week at his press conference, those 50-50 balls, just throwing them up there and letting Blaine Hart-Johnson go after it. And that's exactly what they did on that play. And with his height and his jumping ability, pretty easily came down, out-jumped his defender and got the ball and hauled it in.
Well, it's interesting because on that play, the defender seemed to have the position for the ball. I mean, I didn't even think it was a 50-50. I thought it was more like a 90-10. and Blaine Hart-Johnson made the play to get up and snare that ball and rip it away, really, and then held on to it as he landed on his back.
Right.
I thought that was an interesting play. Can't remember, was it Harris that caught the touchdown pass where he was shoved out of bounds? Jay Griffith before. Thank you. That was a heck of a play too, because you saw where the referee pulled the hat off and threw it where he was shoved out of bounds. But he didn't give up on the play. He kept running the route. The ball just came right in there like a loaf of bread right there.
Yep. Poof.
It's like, thank you, touchdown, see ya.
Yep.
And so I thought Lamar Jordan was good. Now, it's funny because I was listening to Bob Davie this morning on 610 The Sports Animal, and he kind of did not give Lamar all necessarily passing grades as far as making his reads and stuff. He said, well, we need to work on some of that. But I'll tell you what, just the pure motion and the way he was throwing and the way they mixed the offense, I thought he had a heck of it. But, of course, a coach is never happy.
Well, exactly. And you also don't want players to get too happy and too satisfied after one game, especially against an FCS opponent, when you've got your rival game on Saturday, then you turn right around on Thursday and you're at Boise. And then you really get going into the schedule. So you got to keep players grounded too, and always working.
The other thing that I was really excited about, Mike, was the running backs, and specifically, obviously, the Lobos had a hard time running up the middle. They really did.
They did.
I mean, I don't care what anyone says, they did. But it was, I mean, the touchdown by Chestnut when he just turned on the rockets.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, that was an impressive run. I thought Ramel Jordan also coming back.
Ramel Jordan, and maybe shame on me for it being a surprise, but I thought that was a nice, pleasant surprise to see him back after the knee injury that cost him last season. Looked like he hadn't missed a step, was able to stop and go, and the speed was still there. I thought he looked really good. You talked about the runs up the middle, and that hampered Tyrone Owens a little bit. He still ran for 43 yards on 8 carries. All in all, yeah, I don't know how you could not be happy with the running.
Obviously, the offensive line, Avery Jordan was sick. That kind of hurt the team as well. The young guys are trying to get used to everything. Bob Davie, of course, I'm sure he alluded to it yesterday during the press conference about the fact that they are trying to mix everything else. Everyone's trying to get comfortable, still both running and in the passing game with that. I thought they did a good job. I think Lamar was sacked 2 or 3 times. I don't think it was that many. So they're still working on that. Obviously, they didn't get the outside or the inside blocking down pat yet. I have a feeling they're going to be working on that this week.
That's probably a safe bet, yeah.
But they did get the outside stuff. Ramel Jordan, of course, on the Chestnut run we talked about, spraying it. We spoke to Ramel last week on Red Menace TV, and obviously now the expectations start to come now for a lot of members of this team, and I think Ramel Jordan steps right in. Him and Daryl Chestnut, all of a sudden, they become very key guys in this as this season rolls on.
Yeah, and you talked about Avery Jordan not being there on the offensive line. He was sick, but also I had a chance to talk with Bob DeBest, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, and another thing he brought up was, right up into going into that first week, they weren't 100% sure who the tight ends were going to be and what they were going to do at the tight end position. So you wound up with guys there that are still getting used to blocking in this scheme. So that was another thing that probably played into, if there were any struggles in the run game, that played into that. But still, you look, all those guys had big runs. Ramel Jordan had a 44-yard run, Chestnut 54, Lamar had a 27-yard run. So they were still getting those big plays.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the Lobos offense that we're used to. And we'll talk a little bit more about the upcoming game, or 2 games if you want, though you don't want to look ahead. But we'll definitely take a look at that. But why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back with Micah Frankel's interview with Ray Borg and do a little MMA and give you Golden Throat a chance to rest. We'll be back right after this on Red Menace TV.
Handoff on 3rd and long, and it works. That's intercepted, and look out. Nothing but green out in front. Pick 6. Hawks on the board.
Looking down the left sideline, one-on-one cover. Caught by Frost.
Wow,
touchdown.
nice.
44-yard touchdown pass.
Oh my God.
Savante to Scott Frost, one-on-one coverage.
the pistol. Play action. Quick toss down the middle, and it's complete again to Seth Beller. Seth Beller, foot race. Nobody's going to catch him. Touchdown.
Peyton Bull acting like he was going to run, throws it. Molina is open. Molina is down the sideline, and Ivan Molina is going to get 6. Touchdown, Las Cruces.
Tackle. Left foot attempt, and that is a strike. What a goal. New Mexico.
Gonna air it out. Has a man wide open right side. It's up in the air. Caught beautifully. And Michael Quintana is gone. Touchdown, Steve. And this is going to be very returnable. Reverse, fake reverse this time. And there's some room. Look out, blockers in front. Off to the races. This is going to go the distance. An 80-yard touchdown return for Blaine Grant, the junior.
Time on the Centennial 32, they will. Quarterback read around left. Dan Burns got a hole. Cuts it back. Left down the left sideline.
There you go.
5, 10, touchdown.
Oh my gosh.
Finally breaks free, but they might have said he stepped out. I don't see anybody indicating a touchdown. They're saying he stepped out.
We're going to throw it to Sebastian Noel in just a second, our on-field reporter. Here's Smith. Look out. A little move and a cut to the near side. Smith, a blocker in front to the 40. A foot race down the sideline. Shot out of a cannon. He's gone. 90-yard touchdown run.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
It's the Cherry and Silver Home Show at Dreamstyle Arena, The Pit, September 8th through the 10th. Everything you need for your home, including windows, landscaping, solar, stucco, flooring, and many more. Plus, take a private tour of The Pit and watch a celebrity free throw contest. Tickets are $5, kids are free. Proceeds benefit UNM Children's Hospital, Pope Joy Hall, and Anderson School of Management. Don't miss the Cherry and Silver Home Show at Dreamstyle Arena, The Pit, September 8th through the 10th. Tickets available now at unmtickets.com.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting 2 teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
What do these interns even do on their break, man?
I don't even know. It's probably way too crazy.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Dave & Buster's is your destination for fun. Eat delicious chef-crafted food. Try sizzling favorites and new creations from our talented chefs. Drink the coolest cocktail creations. Play the hottest new games to win awesome prizes. And watch all the games in the best sports bar ever. Only at Dave & Buster's.
Ray Borg, thank you for the time, sir. And I believe early September, you got a pretty big date coming.
I think early September it's going to be a good day. A long time in the making. Long time.
So I don't even know where to begin with these questions. I'm just so happy. I mean, I've been watching you fight for so long. How's it feel to obviously be one step closer to your ultimate dream?
It's amazing, man. Especially the people around me, especially the people in the Mexico scene who have seen me grow up, even from a little 13-year-old jiu-jitsu kid who just started off at grappling tournaments and doing all the local grappling tournaments, and now, pursuing my dreams and about to rewrite history on September 9th.
When was the last time you looked at that first interview? And I'm talking about your first interview. I've seen it before. We're talking about grappling tournaments. There's no facial hair. You're like 13 years old.
You know how funny that is that me and my wife Amanda were actually watching it 2 days ago. I forgot what we were looking for, and it just kind of happened to stumble upon it. I was like, wow. I was like 13 years old doing an interview about jiu-jitsu. So it's insane, man. This whole ride has been crazy. It's been a blessing. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, and it's just amazing that I'm here.
All right, ups and downs. We'll start with how did you deal with all this copious drama? You look like you're going to fight DJ. TJ's jumping in, and obviously a situation totally out of your hands.
Same way I deal with every problem. I just overcome it. I just go over it. I hurdle over all these obstacles, all these little things happening on the outside, inside, no matter where they be. I just do what I do best, and I overcome the adversity, and I just keep moving forward, man. The whole situation with the whole TJ, everything, I just kept moving forward, whether it was going to be DJ or not. I just stayed positive, kept moving forward. That's what's carried me throughout my whole career, and things happen to look up for me.
Was there any feeling of, are they sure once they gave you this date and this opportunity, or no, you just signed the contract, went with it?
Well, they gave me the date, and it was kind of like, all right, well, I'm supposed to be getting ready for a fight September 9th, and who knows if it's going to happen, because I actually found out about it way before it was announced. It was talked about to be September 9th for a while, but then, it started to drag along, and it was going to look like the whole Seattle card again, where it was supposed to be me in Seattle, and then the whole thing tanked, and they told us September 9th, and it looked like it was about to tank again, and then, I was told that it might be in October, and then literally the day after I was told it was supposed to be in October, we got the contract to fight this September.
So do you feel confident in the camp you've been able to put together with all these timeline changes that have taken place?
Yeah, I feel amazing. I've really created a great camp. I've surrounded myself with a lot of great coaches, a great gym, great training partners for this fight, and I really feel like I'm in the right spot, and I have the right people behind me to lead me to dethrone DJ.
Where do you succeed that others have failed?
My tenaciousness, man. If you really look at DJ and the people he's fought, he's never fought anybody with my scrambling abilities. Tim Elliott was the closest thing to my type of scrambling, and we've seen how that went. And Tim Elliott, almost damn near beat him. And it wasn't as clean as my scrambling, and I definitely feel like I have a different type of speed, a different type of mentality more than anything. He has never, look at everybody he's fought, he has never fought anybody as young as me, he's never fought anybody as hungry as me, no one as fast as me, no one as strong as me. I definitely feel like youth is going to play on my side, and timing just is going to align perfect on September.
When you look back to the Formiga win, Where do you feel that took you, and what do you think that said to everybody else that's really in the know?
Beating Formiga was a big step for me, not just for myself, but just for everybody to know that I am legit. I am a legit contender. You know, most people who are uneducated on the internet think that I'm ranked like 10th, and I've never fought anybody in the top 10. Formiga was ranked 3, and he was, you know, at one point considered the best flyweight in the world. And, you know, I went in there and I shut him down. You know, it came out of that last round, I believe, and I showed how much more I wanted, and I beat him up the end of the 3rd round, and it was a great win for myself because it made me realize that, okay, I'm ready for DJ.
Formiga, McCall, DJ, you've watched this flyweight division develop as it's developed through MMA. What is it like for you to be competing with these guys and being at this level such a young age?
It is truly insane because every fighter so far that I've either been scheduled to fight recently or have fought, I've watched them since I was a 14-year-old kid. Formiga, I knew who he was when he fought McCall in Tai Chi Palace. I watched that fight and I was like 17 years old, 16 years old. I think I was 16. And you know, I've known who DJ is for a very long time, since the WEC days. And then once they introduced the flyweight division, I believe I was like around 17, and I was like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna be the guy to do it. And it's just amazing to me that all these people that I've watched growing up and, you know, never really realizing that I'm gonna fight them one day has actually happened.
And does that just amaze you right now?
It's so crazy, man. It's amazing to me just because it really shows that, you know, everything I did, everything I sacrificed really was for a purpose, and it's all going to pay off in September.
It's all been for a purpose. It's been a short ride here with the Jackson Wink team. Do you feel that you guys know each other well enough to take on such a big challenge as DJ?
I really do, man. Me and Greg have clicked a lot. You know, we've been really, you know, brainstorming together, combining our strategies together. Not only that, you know, me and Winklejohn work, you know, daily, and, you know, a big person in my camp that, you know, has been the most welcoming to me more than anybody and has kind of become my right-hand man is Brandon Gibson. You know, he's my guy, he's my main guy, and it's been amazing to have the whole Jackson's crew, you know, welcome me with open arms and be behind me, you know, with this task.
The internet's full of idiots and hate. With the biggest fight of your career ahead of you, do you kind of go on an internet blackout, kind of stay away from social media?
Yeah, you know, I go on an internet blackout or anything blackout during fight camp, and, you know, anyways, I don't have time for all that, but, you know, there was a couple times where I got really bored and I was like seeing what they were saying, and I trolled them back, and, you know, people don't know I'm a great troll on Twitter, so you know, I kind of stuck some of those guys, but other than that, you know, it's people aren't in our shoes. You know, me and my wrestling coach Dan were talking about it today. We went around the Hill of Tears with Greg, and there was a couple moments where you had to push yourself so hard that you wanted to die inside and you wanted to throw up, and it made you realize that most Americans have never even felt anything like that, much less a fight. So, you know, who the hell are they to know what they're talking about?
The fight, that's the easy thing. You're used to me asking you questions. There's going to be a million cameras on you in a couple weeks. Does that feel like a strange thought to process?
Not really. That kind of stuff's that's actually easy for me. I mean, that kind of stuff's just, it's all mental, you know. It's all how you can mentally handle it. If you get starstruck by it, then, you know, it's going to leave for a bad night or bad week, whatever it may be. But, you know, all that's just mental crap. I mean, if you can't do an interview or if you can't have a bunch of cameras in your face, you know, you're probably not going to do well with punches in your face, you know. So it's just all mental. It's easy. It's cool. You know, I enjoy it. It's fun for me.
Excited for that first UFC Open workout?
I am, man. I am. You know, even the countdown show, you know, it hasn't been so much being starstruck by the moment, but more of taking it in, just because I've always watched countdown shows. I've always, you know, seen the embeddeds. I've always seen the open workouts. I've never been a part of them. So it's more of a blessing for me to be a part of them, and it's amazing, and I'm just enjoying it and taking every moment in.
And how much has the team and their advice helped you out? Because many title fights, many embedded shows, many of those little other things outside of we know you can fight, how much has the team and their experience been a benefit to you?
That's the great part about having this team behind me, is that everyone here has experienced. I mean, Greg, God, the guy's got countless experience in title fights, big time fights, same with Wing, same with Brandon. So being able to have them on my side during this moment is great, because they know how to stay level-headed. I know how to stay level-headed. You know, it's just going to make for a great week, great camp, you know.
Bruce Buffer says, and new flyweight champion of the world. What's that going to mean to you?
I mean, it's going to mean more to me what people know. That's why I feel like I'm going to win this fight. This fight means more to me than more people, than anyone will ever know. It's something that I have, this is all I know. Fighting is all I fucking know. You know, I'm in the process of learning, you know, business stuff, so that way, you know, I have a good thing to fall back on after this whole fighting thing, you know, kick the body's ass. But, you know, it's just, it's going to be amazing. You know, it's something that I've done so much for, you know, lost relationships, lost friends, you know, lost so much during this journey. And it's all going to be for purpose, and it's all going to be for a reason in September.
Ray Borg, do you have anybody you need to thank or shout out to?
I'd just really like to thank my sponsors that stuck with me since day one. Damage Control, Classic Barbershop, Trent Cotney, my team, Jackson Wink, you know, anybody who's been on the journey from the get-go, you know, Frank Baca, Tim Sosa, all my familia, and we're going to go and get this.
Time to shock the world.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real. You two, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
All right, welcome back to Red Menace TV. Of course, if you're going to watch a Lobo game.
Whoa, what was that, Barry White?
Welcome back to Red Menace TV. Would you have me do Pee-wee or something?
I would just rather you used a more normal voice.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Welcome back to Red Menace TV.
Hey, baby.
I'm Leroy.
I love it. If you're going to watch the Lobo football team versus the Aggies this Saturday, you have to watch on Facebook if you're not there live.
Well, you can be there live.
Yeah. You can be there live or watch on Facebook, as this is part of the package, I guess, the Mountain West Conference has. This is one of the games that they're going to show. I just heard that the play-by-play, I've never heard of this guy, Chris Hassel, will be doing play-by-play, and Daniel Jeremiah will be doing color from the NFL Network. I guess Robert Lee was not available.
Oh, see, that's so 3 weeks ago.
I know, but it's still funny to me.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, speaking of games, I know, it went over like a lead balloon, right?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, sorry, crash and burn. But here's something where we won't crash and burn. If you want to catch the best in high school football action, come to Proview Networks this weekend as... Woo! Did you just feel like maybe we were in the Twilight Zone? Let's try this again. If you want the best in high school action, go to right here on Proview Networks, live on Comcast 26, West Mesa versus Volcano Vista, Thursday night at 7 p.m. from Lucena Community Stadium. Also, we have Manzano versus Cibola on Friday. Did my thing fall off? Okay, here we go. And then we also have Mayfield versus El Dorado And the Friday night My 50 game of the week is going to be Clovis versus Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho is 2-0 and tearing it up right now. Bruer is really showing himself to be the quarterback, and Rio Rancho once again established themselves as the class of New Mexico high school sports. As well as Saturday, Oñate comes up and plays Sandia, and that's at Wilson Stadium. And that's 1 o'clock. And then Los Lunas versus Rio Grande Saturday. That's a Yaffle Pee-wees at 4 p.m. And as well, Yaffle Cleveland versus Rio Grande, also at Nucenda Stadium. So Rio Grande will be taking over Proview Networks. The Yaffle, anyway, that will be as Cleveland plays Rio Grande. And then you have APS Metro, what does that say? Volleyball Championships live at 6 p.m. So, oh, look at this. He's going to give me everything. Men's college soccer live at 6 p.m. on Sunday. UC Irvine comes to town to play Jeremy Fishbine's Lobo soccer team. So lots of stuff coming up. We have all things going on. Would you rather me go with the voice again?
Well, maybe, because since your microphone fell off, probably I'm the only one who heard that you do that voice the first
which
time.
is too bad, because that was really a good voice. I was practicing so that way I could, I was trying to get that gig for the Facebook. I wanted.
You wanted to call the game on Facebook.
Call the game on Facebook. I figured, what the heck, why not?
It's Facebook, not Match.com, dude. Hey, baby.
Well, you never know.
We're here at Dream Style Stadium.
Come up into my face. There you go. Well, to go up against, the voices that are out there, both here on Proview, then you got Robert Portnoy, and then you guys are all over the radio, and I know all the ladies swoon for the voices of Michael Carlisle and Michael Trujillo.
Hope my wife's not watching. You'd be amazed.
I said the ladies swoon. The ladies. I'm not amazed. You have a very great radio voice.
Wow. Why, thank you, Leroy.
I'll tell you what, why don't we bail out of this and go talk to a real clown, Rusty the sports clown, and see what he has to say this week on Red Menace TV.
Hey guys, what a sports weekend. Oh my gosh. If you're ready for this clown's take on sports, well, here we go. Let's get to it. Let's start with the big boys in the NFL. Okay, the teams finished their preseason and then the final cuts were made. One of the crazier turn of events is Brock Osweiler. Remember, he was like the starting quarterback for like 5 or 6 games for Denver, and then they pulled him for that guy that actually won the Super Bowl. Well, he left Denver to take more money in Houston. He lost the starting spot in Houston, and he got traded to Cleveland in the offseason. Well, guess what? Cleveland wasn't impressed with him either, so they tried to trade him. No one was interested, so they cut him. Guess what happened then? Denver picked him up. Denver. So they picked him up to back up Trevor Siemian while Paxton Lynch is on the mend. Yeah, he's going to be, on the disabled list for the next month or so. After that, who knows what's going to happen, whether they're going to keep him, whether they're going to let Paxton Lynch go, or they're going to let him go. Who knows, but we're going to find out. Meanwhile, in Dallas, they replaced Kellen Moore, and they chose as their backup to go with Cooper Rush. Yeah, this guy was a, undrafted free agent. He played amazing in the preseason. All right, moving on. Let's see, what do we have now? Man, positions everywhere. Teams are picking up people left and right. It's crazy, but it's going to be very cool. All right, now we're going to move on to college football. I know, this is pretty cool. It was a great weekend for that. All right, let's start with, I don't know, Thursday night, Friday night. Whenever did NMSU play? We don't know. Do we care? I don't know. They got beat by Arizona State, but it was a tough game. 37-31, Arizona State winning. New Mexico State could be rough. Now, why do I mention New Mexico State? Because the Lobos play them this weekend. They play here in town. Speaking of the Lobos, they took their time in a 38-14 win over Abilene Christian. Okay, the game started out kind of rough. The Lobos took the kickoff and drove down the field like everybody expected them to, but then when they got inside the 5-yard line, they got stopped. And on 4th down, they went for it. They got stuffed at the half-yard line. Guess what happened then? Abilene Christian drove the ball 99.5 yards. That's like almost the whole field. But then Lobos woke up and they took over. They dominated the rest of the game, throttled them completely. Yeah, that's what we need to see this next week against New Mexico State. All right, other games coming up, or other games that happen. What did we have? Yeah, the big games are actually kind of duds. Alabama throttled Florida State, knocking their starting quarterback out for the season. The next big game, Michigan and Florida. Yeah, well, Florida had like 10 guys that were suspended for the game, but they led the game at halftime 17-12, 17-13, let me get that right, because of 2 pick sixes. Well, the second half, it was all Michigan, and they won big. But the best game of the weekend, entertainment-wise, was the UCLA-Texas A&M game. A&M dominated the game, and they were up 44-10 midway through the third quarter. I know, they had sacked the quarterback for UCLA. That Rosen guy sacked him like 5 times. He'd been knocked down 9 times. It was crazy. They were just dominating completely. Well, UCLA said, you know, why don't we just start playing a little better? So what did they do? They scored 35 unanswered points. And the winning score, it came on a fake spike. It was great. Quarterback, and he went like that, but he didn't actually throw it down. And then he lobs this pass in the end zone. Touchdown! The whole stadium erupted. It was crazy. It was a great game. Unless you're a Texas A&M fan. Then not so much. All right. Now then, the biggest upset of the weekend. This was insane. Howard University. Never heard of them. I don't know if their mascot is Howard the Duck or my buddy Howard, but I don't know. Howard somebody. Okay, they were 45-point underdogs. That means they're supposed to lose by that much. Well, guess what they did? They won 43-40 over UNLV. How does stuff like that happen? You can't make this stuff up. No, you can't. Well, you could, but, you know, I didn't. All right, now moving now to the little guys. Okay, remember the little guys? We've been following this team, this 10-year-old group, okay, from North Rio Rancho, the Cleveland Storm. They had another big shutout win. The team is getting better every week. Guess what? We're going to talk about them and visit with them in our In the Know segment coming up next. Along with their coach, who is Phil Plake. He is also the Apple president. All right, Red Menace peeps, here's the deal. If you want to see the rest of my Rusty the Sports Clown sports segment, you got to find us on Facebook. Or you have to actually watch the show when we're live on TV, okay? That's what you got to do, because I'm not going to show it all to you here. This is called a tease. So I'm teasing you. All right, so if you want to see us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me to a Lobos game, because there's a huge one coming up against the Aggies, because, you know, I'm very famous. If there is an event, a game, a meet, a match, whatever, anybody wearing jerseys, what do? Just go. All right, that's it. See you next time. Bye.
Oh my God, make it stop, dude. You've got to make it stop.
Oh, the madness?
Oh, it's like I feel seasick.
Yeah,
thank God it's over. Dude.
The silver? Was the silver too much?
Well, it wasn't so much the silver as much as it was the camera shaking and wobbling around.
Did it give you a little bit of seasickness?
It was like watching Blair Witch or something.
The Rusty Witch program?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Crazy.
All right, well, I'm going to let you recover. We're going to take a
Hold on. No, because I've got somebody.
Oh.
Why was he silver?
I don't know.
I thought it was Dusty the Sports Clown instead of Rusty. I didn't know what was going on.
Well, it's interesting you brought up Blair Witch, because the silver with the black and white kind of color combo really was kind of freaky. It was bewitching.
It was something. Need some Dramamine.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Let Carlisle take some Dramamine. We'll come back to close out the show here on Red Menace TV.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Garden Sort's Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutz Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters! It's like it never happened!
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
You okay, Mike?
I think so.
Dramamine's kicked in? Yeah. Do we have to start like a group therapy for you? The Michael Carr or the Rusty the Sports Clown recovery therapy group?
No, I just make it go away.
Okay.
So like now Rusty's all hip and cool, so he's changed his makeup. He's all silver.
Yeah. He's a hipster now. He's a hipster. He's adapting to the times. He's a hipster. Rusty.
Hold on. He's a clown. What times is he really adapting to?
Well,
I mean,
It is coming out, right? They're redoing It. Maybe Rusty's doing a redo of himself. Rusty 2, It. The new version? I don't know. Hey,
Rit?
Maybe he no longer wants to be Rusty because, Rust is that orange color. Now he wants to be like Silver Clown. I have no idea. Maybe it's a tribute to like, what are those Game of Thrones, those snow people or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
They're kind of silly. I don't know. I don't watch that show either.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyways, speaking of shows and things that are going on, we mentioned the high school and the Apple stuff that's going on as well as the soccer. The Aggies come to town, and we did mention that it's going to be on Facebook Live if you can't make it out to the stadium, or if you're watching us from across the on YouTube and you're watching us across the country or anything, you can catch it on Facebook.
Yep.
Go to golobos.com. You'll get all the information and the link that you can watch it as the Aggies come to town. Now, Aggies are 0-1. They fell. Wasn't it close to Arizona? Because I've heard people say it was really close. Aggie fans, you have Jerome that calls your show regularly. Yeah. Very excited. They were very close to Arizona State. Very close.
The final score was close.
Yeah.
The game itself, not so much. Now, it was a close game at half.
We did have the one play of the game or whatever.
But then Arizona State came out and really opened it up. And to me, I think they kind of took their foot off the gas a little. But to the Aggies' credit, they scored a couple of late touchdowns. I did think that the Aggies' defense looked better than we had seen from them. So that'll be something to look for coming into Saturday's game. What does that defense look like against the Lobos? Are the Lobos going to be able to throw the ball the way they did against Abilene Christian? Are the Lobos going to be able to get the run game going?
So let me ask you this, because you were at the press conference yesterday, and you've seen some things. I've heard Bob Davie talk. I watched part of the press conference. He's making it out. Do you think this is just coach speak? Do you think this is a big game for the Lobo players and coaches, or is it more just a big deal for the fans?
It's always a big game when you play your rival. And what I'm about to say after that, I'm not trying to diminish from that.
Right.
But if you're the Lobos, you have bigger goals for the season. Certainly you want to beat the Aggies. That's your rival. But the Lobos want to win a Mountain Division title. They want to win it outright. And they want to play in that Mountain West Championship game. In all honesty, whatever happens on Saturday is not going to affect that in any way whatsoever. But yes, of course, it's a big game. It's your in-state rival. It's, you know, if you're a Lobo fan, it's your little brother to the south. If you're an Aggie fan, you want to see the Aggies win 2 in a row against the Lobos and show, you know, who the better team is. So yeah, there's certainly a lot riding on it.
I think for the fans, it's a huge deal, and I'm talking about putting butts in the seats for the rest of the season. We looked it up. I can't remember the last time the Lobos started 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. It's been a while, I think.
Been a couple of years.
4-0. I think Rocky was the last time that they started out 4-0. Or maybe they went 3-1. I'm trying to think. I'm getting old. It's been 16 years since we started the Red Menace. Believe it or not, we started our 16th year. But it's huge because if they lose that game, then all of a sudden you look at going to Boise State, you look at going to Tulsa, and not only that, and you mentioned it, there was 21,000 I think that they had listed for Saturday's game against Abilene Christian. There'll probably be a nice crowd there, as a few of the Aggie fans will crawl out under rocks and come to the game possibly. Wow. I'm just saying they're Aggie fans. They're farmers, right? That's an Aggie, agriculturist. They toil in the rocks and in the. We don't have swamps here, but.
I don't know what you're growing in the rocks, dude. Well, you know nothing about agriculture.
I know, because I'm not an Aggie, so I don't know.
You don't even have a garden.
I don't have a garden.
Potted plants or anything?
No, my potted plants die. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just telling the truth, okay? Anyway, so they're going to crawl out of rocks, hopefully come to the stadium. A few of them that hang out here in northern New Mexico. Though I think if you ask most Aggie fans, they'd rather their big rivalry is UTEP, which is right down the road from them, as opposed to New Mexico. Though there is the New Mexico thing.
You think?
I think so. In fact, you can use that question today on your show. Who's your bigger rival, New Mexico or El Paso? Remember, El Paso is only like, 30 minutes away from Las Cruces? Yeah. Anytime they have to go fly out, they got to drive down to El Paso, take a flight out of there because they don't have an airport or, one that flies jets.
What do they fly in, paper airplanes?
Well, they fly those little prop planes.
Okay.
They can sit there and crop dust, and they're farmers. What do you want me to say? They're farmers. Anyway, I lost what I said. So it's a big game for the Lobo fans, Lobo Nation, obviously for marketing purposes, because you don't want to lose to the Aggies.
No.
You have a hard enough time getting people to the stadium anyway, no matter what the Lobos' record is. But to go one-on-one and lose to the Aggies would be devastating. Not only that, for the team, you beat the Aggies. You look at Boise State on Thursday night. Lobos have shown that they can beat Boise State. They've shown that they can play tough against Boise. Now, last year we won't count last year because they kind of got manhandled that time. But they've shown that they can win in Boise. They've shown that they can play hard. So you never know. You get that win against the Aggies, all of a sudden Boise doesn't look as insurmountable as they would before. And they seem to be having their own problems there too. Quarterback controversy.
A little bit of a quarterback controversy in Boise. But, honestly, for what the Lobos' goals are, Thursday's game's a bigger game.
Absolutely.
The Boise game, for sure.
I agree with that. And I think that's why I said for the fans it's huge. For the fan base it's huge. I think, and everything that I've seen and read, Bob Davies it's just another game in the schedule. We're not going to get that crazy about it. Alden just said I'm number one.
I don't think he used that finger.
Hey, this is a family show. No. Hey, so I guess that means we're wrapping up the show. That's the end after the Rusty situation.
Is that what we're calling it? The Rusty situation?
Rusty situation. Kind of like there's that show where, anyway, I digress. So what do you think? Lobos, Aggies, you got a score?
Lobos 33-21.
33-21?
Yeah.
I'm going to say something like, because it's always a weird score, 36-15 Lobos. That's what I like, 36-15. I think the Lobos defense will handle the Aggies offense, and you're not going to see that play of the week or whatever with the one-hand catch. By the way, one of his feet were out of bounds. It's college, but I'm just saying.
He only needs the.
I know he only needs the one. I'm just saying. Just saying. His foot was out of bounds.
But it can be.
I know.
As long as he gets the 1 foot in bounds first.
I know.
That's all that.
That's good. It was a great play.
So what are you just saying?
I'm just saying he won't get the 1 foot in this time.
Okay. Fair enough.
Tell you what, we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank everyone for being part of it. Alden, thank you. Obviously, it's great to have Mike back. Rusty,
Not so much.
Not so much. Lee Riley Sarah, we'll see you next week on Red Menace TV. God bless you all.